Hi.
Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone? 'Cause don't you
Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be doing my favorite books of 2021 because I have not done this video yet, and honestly I just need to get on it. My name is Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life, and today I want to share my favorite books of 2021 with you. We're gonna talk in depth about every single one of them. But I am going to share all of them with you. So some of these you're not going to get a ton because, you know, I'm not shut up about them already. But some of these are just going to be like, you know, complete me just gushing 4 hours on end, which, you know, I do that sometimes. So let's talk about my favorite books of 2021. That way we can go on into 2022 and, you know, get a new favorites list. So first of all, would anyone be shocked if I started this list out with First Comes Blood by Vincent? I know y'all knew this was coming. I know y'all knew this was coming. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I'm shocking anyone with this information. Like, am I literally talking about the book that I literally will never shut the fuck up about? Yes, I am. You've not read First Comes Blood by Vincent. It's the first book in a reverse harem mafia series. This is super dark. It's about a 17-year-old. And she gets promised to 4 mafia men on her 18th birthday. So her 17th birthday they come to her, but she's promised to one of them at her 17th birthday. Or on her 18th birthday. She's supposed to get married to them. Get married to one of them. And this book has everything. It has blood play, knife play, gun play. It's got all of it. It's got everything you could want and or need in a dark romance. This is Brianna Hale's pen name. Are y'all shocked? No. I love it. Please read it. I freaking love Lilith Vincent. I think she's fantastic, and I'm so happy that we have this pen name from Brianna. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I loved it. It was perfect. I gave it 5 stars. Will never shut up about it. I'm currently reading the second book, so there's that. Then we have one that I actually was not expecting to make the list, but it just ended up making the cut, and that is HOTSHOT Doc by R.S. Gray. Is that the author's name? I think so. Listen, so with HOTSHOT Doc, I didn't think I was gonna like it. This is a medical romance. This is a boss employee, a kind of grumpy sunshine. Our hero just does not get along with anyone, and our heroine is just very apprehensive of being his assistant because he runs all of them off. She is his surgical tech. So it was just a fun time because I really didn't anticipate enjoying this one so much. I read this one for reading books like Dean Winchester or books that Dean Winchester would love, and I just had the most fun reading this book. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I was so freaking happy to dive into this world and into this story and just get to see a character who cares so much about their sibling, because we do have that dynamic in here, and you all know anytime there is any kind of relationship where the siblings have a very strong bond or they have a very strong relationship, I just absolutely eat that up. So our heroine is actually taking care of her sister. So her parents pass away and she's like taking on full responsibility of being her caretaker, and it is just so sweet. I love watching these two, and I love the like dynamic between them, and I love the interactions between the boyfriend and our sister, and it's so cute. I loved it. It was so adorable, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. More than likely that gave it some brownie points. That definitely bumped it up some. I just really enjoyed this one. It was a romantic comedy. There were definitely funny scenes in here, and it was just precious, and I just really enjoyed it. So if you've not read HOTSHOT Doc and you want like full thoughts on that, on like my experience reading that, I will link my Dean Winchester vlog. But I absolutely loved it. It was so cute, and anything with a sweet, strong sisterly bond, I'm here for it. If anyone has recommendations for sisterly bond romances, that's mine. Give them here. I need them. So then we have The Initiation by Nikki Sloan, which if you were around my channel anytime at the beginning of the year, this one's not gonna shock you, because I think me and Izzy both just like absolutely freaked out on this one. She recommended it to me and was like, you have to read this book. You are gonna love it. Like, you have to read this. And I said, you know, okay, like I'll give it a shot. We'll see how we do, you know, like we'll see. And well, I started it and I read it in like less than a couple hours. Like, I audiobooked this obviously, and I listened to the entire series in 2 days. So all 3 books in 2 days. I blew through this. This is a story about, I think her name's Meredith or Marist. I can't remember what her name is. Then we have Royce and McAllister. Royce is the son, and then McAllister is his dad. So essentially what we have going on is an arranged relationship. Royce and Marist have like a little situation in like the beginning of the book that happens like a year before, and he's actually promised to marry her sister. So like they're supposed to get married, but something happens so that the sister can't fulfill this requirement that she has to marry him and like go into this family. And we have Marist who takes her spot, and it is like the most interesting sequence of events after that point. I really cannot tell you anything else without spoiling the entire thing, but I just absolutely love this series. I love Marist. I love McAllister. I just love him. I just do. Okay? I just love him. I wanted her to end up with the people don't want her to end up with. So like, if that tells you anything. But it's a trilogy. I can't tell you anything else about it. You have to go in. This is a huge cliffhanger. Go in knowing nothing. It's fantastic. I just kicked the camera, but just do it, okay? It's so good. Then we have Beauty and Darkness, which another one that was not anticipated over here. If you would have told me last year that I would have a fantasy romance on my end of year favorites list, I would have told y'all you were stupid. I would have been like, no, absolutely not. I don't do a fantasy romance, right? Like, I don't do fantasy romance. If it's not ACOTAR, I'm not in. But this one was so good. This is a fantasy romance, and we have kingdoms and magic systems and like so much going on. And essentially we have a marriage of convenience. And this king has to send his daughter off to marry this other king, or this prince. Well, technically he's the king because he just has to get married. He sends her off to do that, and she becomes the queen over in his world, and it makes their 2 worlds stop fighting with each other, so they form an alliance by having this arranged marriage, and it is just so good. This was definitely a kind of friends to lovers romance, because they become friends and then they become lovers, and I think it was just, it was so cute. I just loved it. I loved it so much. I literally fell in love. So then we have Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, which another one I definitely could see this one being on my favorites list, because, you know, it's dark romance. It's Pam Godwin. She is a very popular dark romance author. And hi, hello, you new here? My name's Tamika. I love dark romance. And like, I really was like kind of on the fence about this one because this is a student teacher, but this one's an underage romance. Like, she's underage. So that's where I was very concerned, because I just really didn't know how it was gonna hit for me, you know? But this one hit perfectly. It's literally about this girl who is at this very prestigious school, and she's trying to get into Leopold, which is a very prestigious like music school, and essentially people are out to get her so she doesn't get it, and that teacher was hired so that she wouldn't get a recommendation. So yes, it was fantastic. I loved this. There's so many trigger warnings in this one, and I don't want to talk a ton about this book specifically because this one does deal a lot with sexual assault and a lot of abuse and a lot of things like that. And there's a lot of things that I could go into details about that I just don't want to share because I just don't want to talk about those things. But we did a full live show, me and Charles did, and I fell in love with this book. I genuinely loved every minute of it. I felt like it was done so well. I didn't feel like any of it was trauma for the sake of trauma, which is something I do struggle with dark romance. So sometimes it just feels like trauma for the sake of trauma, and this one just I didn't get that feeling from this one at all, and I loved that about it. It was honestly, it made it so much more enjoyable for me. So yeah, if you want to try this one out, I really recommend it. I listened to the audiobook and I did not feel like it was too long. That is this thing I really struggle with, is like I never felt like this book was a 14-hour audiobook. Like, it never felt that long. So go check it out if you're remotely interested. I do recommend it. I think it's worth the hype. I loved it. So now we're starting into my queer romance recommendations that were my favorites. So hi. read Witching Moons by Poppy Woods. This one is a sapphic paranormal, and I just love this. This is literally about a witch who summons the moon and they have a relationship. I don't want to tell you anything else because it's so short. I listened to the audiobook of this one and I loved it. It was so cute, and I just love sapphic romances. I'm not even gonna like sit here and try to pretend like that's not 100% why it's on this list. A lot more of these are sapphic. Like, there are so many sapphic romances that ended up being favorites of mine this year. And I 100% give that to the fact that I just finally let myself read sapphic romances and like dive in head first. We're gonna get off on a small tangent for just a second, but I promise it's relevant. There for a long time, specifically before I accepted to myself that, you know, I'm a queer woman, I really struggled with queer romances because I wanted that kind of relationship so badly, and it was so hard to like see that in books and then, you know, just be forced back into the norm of the heteronormative, you know, like it was very hard for that. So this year, after I finally accepted, you know, I'm gay and I started dating a woman, I decided I was gonna just start fully reading sapphic romances and really just let myself dive into that and see, you know, what I could find and what I could experience with that. And it was a world of just so much joy of reading sapphic romances and finding sapphic books to recommend, because I love being this version of myself, and I love being able to recommend books that express not only my identity but so many other people's identities too, and I get to share those with you, so that just makes me really happy. So tangent aside, my little gay heart shutting the fuck up now. I love Witching Moons. Please go read it if you haven't. I love the story. I love seeing these two girls get a happily ever after. I love it so much, and like, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna get emotional like I always do. I love this book. I love sapphic romances, and this makes me so happy. Let's jump to a non-sapphic one really quick, and we'll talk about The Beast by KATEE Robert, which, guys, this is my favorite book in the Wicked Villains series. Absolutely my favorite. This outdid Desperate Measures, which you all know for a long time Desperate Measures was my absolute favorite from KATEE Robert. Which it was, you know, it had all my things in it, you know, Jasmine and Jafar, it's consensual non-consent, it had daddy kink, it had all the things that tick my boxes, right? Nah, not this book. This book had the things I didn't think I was gonna like. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I don't typically enjoy. This one is a menage, and this is a male female menage, and this has just some, she's kind of a brat. I actually don't remember how much of a brat she is, but she's kind of a brat. And like, this is not like my go-to kinks, you know? Like, I was really not anticipating that this was gonna be like my jam, right? Nope. This is my favorite one of the series. This one was a 5-star read. It was fantastic. I absolutely fell in love with this. I cannot believe that it took me so long to continue this series, because I was afraid this one was gonna be the one that I didn't really enjoy. I loved it. This one is so much better than the sapphic one that I've already read from KATEE, which, love KATEE, love her sapphic, but this one, fantastic. I loved it. I cannot say enough nice things about KATEE Robert and the Wicked Villain series. So if you've not read this series yet, I know everyone talks about it. I know they do. Just humor me and go check it out for yourself, okay? Thank you. So now we also have to talk about an arc that I got that comes out in April. So you all can't actually read this one yet, but I had to talk about it because I freaking loved this book. This is Blood Will Tell. This is a thriller book that I loved it. It was so good. It was exactly what I needed. I just really needed a thriller. I just really needed to consume a thriller, if you want me to be honest. Romance was not hitting for me. I was very tired of it at that point, and I was like, I need something different. I need something else. Give me anything but a romance right now. So I read this thriller. Fantastic. This has so many good things that I love in books. It has a very strong sisterly relationship, which I talked about earlier. You know, I'm a sucker. Anything with a good sisterly bond, I am a sucker for that. That automatically gives the book like an extra star in my book. Like, it could be a horrible book, but if I think that these siblings have like a motherly and like daughterly kind of relationship, I'm in. I'm into it. Don't tell me anything else. I'm gonna read it. This one also in particular had the very unreliable like side character, and a character who was trying to discover like what was going on, like trying to like truly figure out what was going on, and like she had to like uncover everything and like get all the pieces. So This one was really good. I did not expect the plot twist. This has a dual timeline situation where you're reading from 2 different perspectives, and we have a murder mystery going on and then a missing persons situation. I don't want to tell you anything else. Just know, going into this one, it's fantastic. I loved it. Need I say more? Go read this thriller. This is the only thriller on my favorite books of the year list, and that's saying something because last year I don't think we had one make it on the list. Other than a Riley Sager. And the year before that it was a Riley Sager. And this year Riley Sager was on the worst list. So I mean, we're in an interesting position here. We still have 6 more books to go. Let's talk about Vibe by Liza James, because I know you all knew this one was coming. I knew it. You all knew as soon as you clicked on this video Tamika's gonna talk about Vibe, because she's not shut up about it. And yes, I am gonna talk about Vibe, because I'm gonna talk about Vibe and Hush together, because I can't just talk about Hush because it's the second book and you have to read the first book in order to read the second book. But it's so good. It's a like cult series. It's a dark sapphic romance, first of all. There's cults in here. There is like some religious trauma in here. There is a lot of like, there's cheating in the first book. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend there's not. There's cheating in the first book. There's a lot of confusion and like a lot of discovering an identity, and there's a lot of internalized homophobia. And honestly, this book was just so good. These girls have like an instant connection, and I could not even begin to talk about why I love this book so much, other than it's a dark sapphic romance, and it's delightful, and it just pushes buttons that you don't normally look for in books. And I don't know, I love this book. I loved it so much, and I'm gonna reread it. I don't do that very often, but the audiobook just came out, or it's coming out very soon. So I'm gonna be reading this book by Liza, so I'm gonna read it again. And she's got another book coming out in 5 days. But dude, I'm so excited. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't get it. I'm just so happy. I love this author. So Punk 57 is another one I didn't think was gonna end up on my favorites list. After I read Credence, I was just like, I'm gonna hate everything Penelope writes. Like, I'm gonna hate it. Like, I do not like this book. Not into it, you know? So the fact that I loved Punk 57, like, Michael literally tells Ryan she tastes like shit. Like, he licks her throat and says she tastes like shit, and I loved it. I ate it up. It was a bully romance, and it just worked for me. I don't want to talk too much about it. You all know what Punk 57 is. It's literally about Misha and Ryan, who are pen pals, and they get swapped with the wrong gender. Essentially, they think they're the opposite gender, their teachers do, and they continue writing to each other. And Misha ends up going to school under the name of Michael. I think his name's Michael. And Ryan doesn't know who he is, and he torments her because she's not the girl he thought she was. I loved it. If you want to know full thoughts, I do have an entire reading vlog, so go check that out. All right, we got 4 more. I'm gonna kind of hurry through the rest of these just because, yeah, I've talked about these a lot. So we have Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRoux. This is a gothic paranormal demon romance that just ticked almost every single box I could ever need. The only box it didn't tick was a sapphic scene. We do have a 2 bisexual characters, so it was fantastic. I love that part of it. It was just chef's kiss. So this one just truly felt like a paranormal gothic horror romance, and it was just fantastic. We have cults in this, and human sacrifice, and ancient gods. Like, we have so much going on. If any of that sounds interesting, go read this book. Like, I truly don't want to tell you anything because it was so good. Our heroine has a YouTube channel for paranormal investigating, and I want to marry her. So if that says anything. Ray, though, our heroine, our main character, she's not my type. But Juniper in the second book, oh my god. Oh, that woman, she deserves a scene with Ray. I'm just saying, she deserves it. She does. They're both beautiful women. Am I biased? Probably. Do I care? No. Another one you all have not heard me shut up about. Rush by Brianna Hale. I bet y'all were waiting like, when is Tamika gonna put this stupid Brianna Hale book on here? We know she's putting one on here. Well, hi, hello. I'm putting Rush on here. It is my favorite book I've read from Brianna. It is honestly probably one of my favorite. It is in the top 5. If I had to pick an absolute favorite, y'all know it's either gonna be First Comes Blood or Rush. It's one of those two. But it's just so good. It's just so good. It is daddy kink rockstar romance, which I didn't think I was gonna like, but Brianna somehow pulled it off and I just fell in love with it. It was so good, and I don't know what to say about it. It's so good. It's about a choreographer. She has a really bad experience with another like band, another group, and our hero Rush is like, nah, you're gonna do this for me. I'm gonna convince you to like be my choreographer. And they have a romance, and she is into humiliation, and she's a masochist. So, and she's very upfront about what she likes. This has very light little play in it. She wears like cute undies. She sucks her thumb. That's about the extent of it. There's not much more in there though. So yeah, I loved it. I'm not gonna talk about it. Again, Taboo Book Club pick if you'd like to go watch our live show. I did this one with Ashley. Let's also talk about Hooked really quickly, which is another one I was like, excuse me? Where did you come from? You came out of nowhere. I read this one in like beginning of December, end of November. This one was fantastic. Oh my god. Like absolutely so good. This is a Peter Pan retelling, and like none of them are nice. They're all mean people. They're all horrible people. And I cannot wait for the next book. I just checked it out from Kindle Unlimited. We have James, who's Hook, and then we have Wendy, who's obviously Wendy, and Peter is her father. And Peter and James have like a rocky history, and they don't like each other because James did something to, or Peter did something to James's family, and he's out to seek revenge, and he decides he's gonna take his daughter and he's gonna fuck her up, and that's gonna be his revenge. So he starts a romantic relationship, and like he's an evil man, right? Like he's not nice at all. He knows this. He doesn't sugarcoat it, but at the same time he's like, I love this girl though. So like it's so good. I just don't know how to talk about it without just like gushing. He literally takes her captive at one point, and she's into it. Well, kind of into it, you know? Like, she's like, she gets it. Like, she doesn't have a normal reaction. Like, I think if I were kidnapped, I don't think my reaction would be the same as hers. I feel like mine would be a little more like, leave me alone, instead of, I understand why you kidnapped me. I still loved it. I don't really care, but yes. Hooked was so good. Then we have Something to Talk About by Bro Winsler. This next two are sapphic. I'm not even gonna sit here and like try to gush for hours. We're gonna wrap these up pretty quickly because I know I've gushed about them forever, and I'm about to do another sapphic romance recommendation, so I know I'm gonna talk about these very in depth. But Something to Talk About by Bro Winsler. This is a sapphic office romance between a boss and an employee. We have Joe and Emma, and this is a slow burn book. Like, I don't even think there's steam in this. Like, I really don't believe there's any steam, but it is beautiful, and I loved it. I love their relationship. I love how they interact. Essentially, we have Joe, who is a very popular TV producer and former actress, and we have her assistant Emma, who wants to produce, and they're just so cute. Joe ends up taking Emma on the red carpet with her, and they have a moment on the carpet where one of them, like one of them makes the other one laugh, and then it goes around in the tabloids that they're dating, and they have to like play it off and like pretend they're not, and like try not to interact, and try to like not get the tabloids to like keep on the story. And it's just so sweet, and I just loved it. It was just so freaking cute. I'm never gonna shut up about it either, honestly, so I'll shut up for now, and then you can hear me again in a couple weeks when I talk about female romance rights again. And now I want to talk about Cinders. This is the last of the books that I want to talk about, and this is a sapphic one again, and I'm going to wrap it up again kind of quickly because I've gushed about this one quite a bit. This one is not going to be for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and preface this. I've recommended this one and not everyone's loved it. This is a very short one, and this one moves pretty quickly. This does have a trope that I don't love, which is it's insta love, but like in the lesbian world, the U-Haul thing. Not all women are U-Hauls, and not all women fall in love within a week and a half or two, but these women fall in love very quickly. I think they are like in love with each other, trying to like move in together like within like 6 weeks or something crazy, which happens. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but I didn't appreciate it. But I love this book. I loved it so much. We have I think it's like a mayor's daughter or some very prestigious like girl within the community, and we have our other heroine who, she's a first responder, and like, listen, I love firefighters. I don't love firefighters. If this is not gonna make any sense. I loved reading about a firefighter in this book. She's a firefighter and it's fantastic. Like, I didn't realize that a firefighter could be sexy, and then I read this book and I was like, oh shit, this girl, who are you? I didn't realize that all the things I hate in men, I would love in women. It's very strange. Anyway, she's a beautiful masculine woman. She is a firefighter. They have a lovely little romance. I just loved it. They have like some kind of an unrequited crush situation, because one of them has like a big crush on the other one, and one of the siblings has told one of the girls to like not interact with the other one because she thought she was weird. That was actually not the case. It's so cute. I loved it. So I'm not gonna stop talking about it. I'm not gonna stop loving it. It is not for everyone. I will go ahead and say that, but it's so good. It's so worth it. I just loved it. I loved it personally. It was such a quick read, and I love this author. Cannot wait to read the entirety of their backlist, because honestly, we are getting close. Okay, so those are my favorite books that I read in 2021. What were your favorites? Please leave them down in the comments. And if any of them were sapphic, let me know, because I want to add them to my list. And I will chat with y'all in my next one. Oh, if you're still watching, leave me a rose emoji down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, this baby said that they don't got a future like